If you are a teacher, parent, administrator, student, and/or anyone who loves reconnecting children with nature, and you want to figure out how to cultivate learning gardens and nature-based curriculum, then this is the podcast, the Outdoor Classrooms podcast. My name is Victoria Hackett. I am the founder of Outdoor-Classrooms.com and the Secret Gardens Nature Classes. I love witnessing the magic that happens when children are playfully learning outdoors. Observing the return of wonder and curiosity when children are interacting with nature is pure magic. This is the podcast that is going to help you capture children's interest and give you not only inspiration, but some real life strategies that are going to help you figure out how to use the outdoor space, your outdoor space, as a teaching tool, so you can enlighten the playful learning experience for young children. Welcome to our Outdoor Classrooms community. Bobby Donohue is the founder of Planet Bonehead, an innovative educational platform helping schools teach about climate change and prepare them for environmental STEAM careers. Planet Bonehead provides teachers with the knowledge, resources, and support they need to effectively educate young learners about the environmental issues. His work combines creativity, storytelling, and real-world solutions to inspire kids to think critically and take action. Planet Bonehead is used in classrooms across the 86 countries, empowering the next generation to build a sustainable future. Hello, everybody. We are here with Bobby Donohue, and he is from Planet Bonehead. So welcome, Bobby. I'm thrilled that you are here.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Let's just dive in, and I would love to hear your backstory of how you came to Planet Bonehead.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do it as quickly as I can because this could take up the whole time. It's a fascinating story, I think. Well, to me, I don't know about to anybody else. Anyway, it's been a 20-year journey for Planet Bonehead, and it started a long time ago with an old friend of mine that wanted to create a character named Bonehead. And since I'm an artist, he asked me to help him develop this character. And so I was like, okay. And I did. And we just started coming up with characters and all kinds of things. And then he didn't want to work on it anymore. And I did. And it developed into Planet Bonehead because we made it about the environment and we wanted to teach kids about the environment. But that's all I knew in the very early days was just some cartoon, funny way to teach kids about the environment. The idea of the name Bonehead was that it's kind of a boneheaded thing to do to trash our planet. So that to me was the crux of the name. Years later, I developed a TV show and we were trying to pitch it to Nickelodeon and places like that. And they weren't interested in it because they didn't want anything educational for older than preschool. Preschool and younger educational, older than preschool, SpongeBob only. That's all they wanted. And so, I didn't want to change it. It was what it was. So I just decided to make the show myself and let's just make the show. I'm a video editor. I can do this. I learned animation and developed the characters and made the show. And we were able to get it with distributors that were at the time were selling it to schools on DVD. And to my surprise, schools liked it. I was like, I didn't make it specifically to fit a curriculum or a structure. I was just like, I think kids need to know this. And I made the show and teachers liked it and started buying it on DVDs. And then the distributors switched to streaming about almost 15 years ago, maybe 13 years. And it's been streaming into schools ever since across North America through my distributors. And every quarter I get the royalty reports of, the number of views and the teachers that are using it and stuff. It's so, what I decided to do this past year or two is to create new units specific to climate change and advancements in green technology. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am now. And the platform at Planet Bonehead, that's new. So it's where teachers can access it directly from me and these new programs. The videos are still with my distributors, but the lesson plans and the professional learning courses for teachers, those are all on the platform. So 20 years later, that's what I'm up to.
That's amazing. So how does Planet Bonehead equip teachers with the tools effectively to teach climate change? Because they've got a lot on their plate. So how do your tools help them do this change in the classroom?
Yeah. Thanks for that question. Because the thing I learned, and I wanted to make it about climate change because I have learned so much from green technology leaders that green tech is saving the world, but nobody knows about it. They have all the technology out there to solve everything there is about climate change. What we lack is the political will. And the reason we lack the political will is because people don't know enough. We don't have the education behind it. So I think education is the silver bullet to fixing politics and stuff. So I decided to make Planet Bonehead that. And then what I quickly learned is that teachers want to teach kids about climate change and kids want to learn about it, but teachers lack three things. They lack the knowledge, the resources, and the support. So the knowledge meaning they don't know much about climate change. They're not immune to all the myths and misinformation and stuff that we hear on the news and, the doom and gloom and, oh my God, we're all going to die in 5 years. And we've been hearing that for a long time, and they're also not immune to the, hey, look, a snowball. I guess there's no more global warming stories, so nobody knows really what to believe. What it is it global warming? Is it climate change? What the words change, So I'm providing what I'm calling PBH certifications, which are courses I'm creating to teach teachers about climate change so that they can learn the basics of it. I already have one up there. It's called Climate Essentials for Teachers, which is basically just the myths versus the facts. Like, this is what it is. Let's just all agree on this and go from here,
Yeah.
And I'm also going to be creating courses on helping to prepare kids for future careers in environmental STEM or helping to bring climate change into social studies and social justice learning and English and literature and stuff. So there's all of these things. That's the knowledge. The resources, of course, are the things they need for the classroom. How do we teach this to kids? I don't have textbooks about this. I don't have lessons about this. I don't have videos about this. Well, I'm creating them and I've got them. So, and I'm creating more. So that's the PBH units that's used in the classroom. And the third thing is the support, because a lot of teachers will feel isolated in this. They feel they don't have a lot of support. They don't know anybody to talk to about this. So I'm starting a thing relatively soon. I'm hoping next week I start this. It's going to be called PBH Live. I'll be going live daily on weekdays on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, simulcasting to all three. And I'll be doing lives talking to teachers about how to teach kids about climate change and what they need to know. So it's not just support for me, but since it's live, they'll be able to ask questions and talk to each other. So I'm trying to build a community of support here through that. So that's how I'm trying to bring this to teachers and help them. I'm giving them the knowledge, the resources, and the support all in one thing. And the PBH Live, by the way, is free. That I'm just doing free on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Has there been a proven effectiveness in all this work that you're doing? Have you seen a difference?
Yeah. So, like I said, Planet Bonehead has always been about teaching kids about the environment. The new units are specific to climate change and green technology, but it's always been environmental science. And like I said, it's been used in schools for going on 15 years if we're counting the DVD era. I just got 2 new global distributors recently, just in the past year. It hasn't even been a year yet. One of them is ClickView. They're based in Australia and they stream it to classrooms in the US, the UK, and Australia. And they told me that Planet Bonehead was the best independently produced program that they have. So that just I patted myself on the back all week from that. But I've also heard directly from teachers. We did focus groups where we brought it into schools in South Carolina and Charleston. Charleston, South Carolina made it part of their green science curriculum years ago. And we got feedback from teachers and, I've got the testimonials from them all on my website. And it was just good critical feedback of we could use this and we could use that, which we implemented, but also just it's got everything that they need. And the kids love it. I don't know how I did it. I made what I wanted. I didn't try to make something that I thought kids liked. I didn't try to figure out what they liked and reverse engineered it. I just said, this is cool. And I would have loved this. And at the time I had little kids and they loved it. So I was like, good enough for me. And that's where the Bonehead characters came from and the stories that we write. I'm not trying to mass produce something that I think is going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm making what I know I like and my kids like. And from the teachers that I hear back from, they like it too,
Yeah.
so there's that.
Do you feel like there's been a change in terms of the effectiveness with climate change? And I mean, yes, it sounds like your material's getting out to more teachers and programs and whatnot. In turn, do you think that kids are changing their mindset around climate change and teachers are changing their mind? Are you seeing that as a result of your different programs and
Yeah, I think teachers are definitely changing their mindset about it because it used to be a topic that nobody wanted to touch, but now everybody wants to talk about it. They just don't know how. With kids, I'm not sure that I'm really trying to change kids' mindsets because my philosophy is that kids already have the proper mindset. What I'm trying to do is not beat it out of them. Kids don't go into the world thinking, that everything is terrible and there's really nothing we can do about it. When the adults in the room talk about climate change, it always comes down to, well, yeah, maybe we should fix that, but that would be so expensive. And or this is going to happen and that's going to happen and we're all going to die and all of this stuff. And it just becomes a battle of wills. And you have people who believe climate change is a problem. We should do something. You have people who believe it's a hoax and there's nothing we should do about it. And then you have people who just, I don't care. And there are very few people whose minds you really can change. But with kids, if you told them, hey, should we destroy the planet or keep it beautiful? They would be like, what are you talking about? We should absolutely keep it beautiful. It's just innate to them. So I'm not trying to scare them on Planet Bonehead. In fact, one of the things I always say is that this is climate education without all the doom and gloom. It's all.
Well, I think they are scared. I think the kids, on some aspect of, because maybe the adults, I think they come to the table maybe with some fear. Do
Absolutely.
You see that?
You're right. There is fear. So what I'm trying to do is not harp on that fear.
Right.
I'm trying to say, so I'll explain it quickly this way. Each unit that I make, each PBH unit, the classroom resources, has 4 parts. And the first part is the characters and their story. And it's fun and it's funny. And it's just a light way to introduce this topic without hitting them on the head with it.
Right.
The second part is the first set of documentaries, which is what I call the problems. And I don't sugarcoat it. This is the issue. It really is a problem. This is what's happening. This is why it's important to us. And if we did nothing, this could happen, blah, blah, blah. It's all that stuff, but it's not hopeless because the second documentary is the solution. And I introduce them to people, green tech companies, nonprofit organizations, governments that that actually have solutions that we're using today, not ideas that we could build someday, but things that are actually in use today, but maybe not on a grand enough scale to see a difference yet. So I show them, hey, there's already good people out there working on it, but they need your help. We need you to expand on these ideas, use your imagination and come up with more ideas. Here's a thing. And how would you make this better? Because kids aren't going to think, well, this isn't possible yet. And the raw materials for this idea are too expensive. So we'd have to find a different source. Kids are just like, why don't we do this? And they'll draw something that's absolutely ridiculous. But there's a kernel of something in there that if we put our can't do attitude aside for a minute, we could figure out how to do it. Kids just go right to it. The kids just see it,
Yeah.
So are they scared? Yes. Children are definitely scared of climate change, but not because they feel it's hopeless, but just because nobody's giving them anything to feel hopeful. And that's what I'm trying to do.
It's beautiful. It's amazing. I have so many different questions here. Can you tell us a little bit about the Planet Symposium experience? You haven't
actually,
that?
The Planet Symposium is my idea. I wanted to make it. At first, I was going to do it as a virtual event, which is what I think I told you. But I've changed that to the PBH Live. So I'm just going to do them every day, and it's not going to be just one big event. So the symposium, though, is not off the table. I want to do that when I said this, when I was honest with myself, I want to do it in person. I want to do an actual event. I want to have a place and have people come in and have people on a stage. And, can I do that tomorrow? No, but I can do it. I can do it in a year or 2 years or 5. It doesn't really matter to me. So it's going to happen. And then it will be a thing that I do every year. But for right now, the spirit of the Planet Symposium is going to be acted out daily with me on stage and hosting these live discussions with teachers and with experts. I'll have expert guests on too sometimes, but a lot of time it'll just be me.
Perfect. So there's been a lot of discussion in school classrooms about even the kids that I'm working with about what they're doing with STEAM. Can you tell me a little bit more about how your work and how this STEAM is incorporated into your climate change curriculum?
Yeah, absolutely. STEAM is a big part of it. And I'm glad you said STEAM because I prefer STEAM to STEM. I know STEM is like the word most people use, but to my mind, just as an aside, STEAM is actually better, I think, because it includes art. And what I've been learning from a lot of the green tech people, I've spoken to so many green tech CEOs, and they have all said the same thing to one degree or another, is that we need everybody to come to the table here. We don't just need more scientists and engineers. We need those people too, but we need the artists. We need the thinkers. We need the philosophers. We need the marketers. We need the communicators. We need the lawyers and accountants and the money people. We need everybody who cares about the planet to saddle up to the table and be a part of this solution. So the other reason I like the A in STEAM is because the imagination to me is what's most important. I'm going to answer your specific question in a second, but
fine.
this is a little buildup if you don't mind, because without the imagination part, we end up focusing on the science and the possible ways to do it right now. And that's what I think a lot of adults do is, like I said earlier, it's like, well, this would be ideal, but it's too expensive. And kids don't have that problem when they're drawing something. Well, let's just make it this big then, or let's just make it out of gold, and it's like they don't care about the logistics of it or the economics of it. They're just like, this is the best way to do it. Let's do it. And that art is important to just give us the ideas that we can play with in our minds. And then the solutions, we'll find them if we want to. And the example that I use all the time is, anybody who's ever heard of or watched Star Trek is the Captain Kirk's flip communicator, right? Kids in the 60s, I didn't see it live. I wasn't old enough, but I watched it my whole life growing up. And we always wanted those flip communicators. That was the coolest thing in the world. And I don't know if you know this, but you remember flip phones in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
The engineers who designed those did so specifically because they wanted the Star Trek communicator. That was where you can Google this. That's where the flip phone idea came from, was because these kids grew up to become engineers and designers and said, I'm making the communicator from Star Trek because I want one. And that's where that came from. So STEAM is a tremendous part of Planet Bonehead. I told you there was the problem and the solution, right? So the solution part of each unit is a segment I call Think Like Engineers. And this is again where the videos introduce the stuff we have, and the people that are doing it and all these solutions and optimism and empowerment. But the lesson plan that goes along with that segment, the Think Like Engineers segment, is always a STEAM engineering and design lesson plan where the kids get to take the ideas they learned in the videos and design their own. So they can design it on paper. They can figure out how to make it. And then there's, lesson, instructions on like how to make a prototype, whether it's an actual working prototype or a video of it, or if it's something that's impossible, it could just be an infographic or something where they're creating a tangible item that says, here's my idea and here's how it works. Let me show it to the class, because then they communicate their ideas and they get feedback and they talk to each other. And the teacher can decide whether to break them into groups or whether to do just one thing as a class. It's up to the teacher. There's a lot of play there. You can do it however you like.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say STEAM is a tremendous part of Planet Bonehead. It's not the whole thing, but it's a big, big part of it.
That's awesome. So you alluded to the fact that, a lot of these kids wanting to make, became engineers and wanted to make flip phones and so on and so forth. Can you talk a little bit about how your lessons are just in terms of, I guess, their future careers
Yeah.
and climate change as they, being introduced to this while they're in school and then hopefully being sparked to tap into a future career? How does that work?
Yeah. So I mentioned talking to all these green tech CEOs and people. One thing I realized, I learned from them is that they have a problem with, losing institutional knowledge. A lot of people are retiring out of these fields, but not enough kids are coming into them out of school. So to replace them, and the ones that do aren't really, knowledgeable enough to just pick up where the other people are leaving off. So these people are leaving with all their knowledge and all their experience. The kids obviously don't have the experience, and they're not going to have the knowledge of working in a field for 20, 30, 40 years, but they're also not prepared enough to start without more training. So this is where part of why I wanted to make Planet Boneheads so specific to climate change is I'm learning from the CEOs of companies in this industry. This is what we need kids to know when they graduate from school.
Right. Yeah.
They're not coming into the job interviews knowing enough. They don't have the basics down. So let's go back to where it starts. To me, Planet Bonehead's not a high school thing. And that's not really who I want to talk to because I want to get them young. I want to talk to the kids who haven't lost the imagination yet, who haven't been beaten down by how hard the world is yet. So that's why I want to, talk to them. And my own personal story comes into it a little bit. I was a senior when I was in high school. I loved drawing. My whole life I was an artist. I loved drawing. And my dad was a pilot my whole life too. So I was really into airplanes. So, at the time I was in high school and especially like a junior, senior, I was really into drawing airplanes and stuff. Just at the time, it happened to be what I was into drawing. And I went to career day and all the colleges from the area were at my school. And I met these people from Polytechnic University. They were students there and they asked me what I liked. I said, I like drawing airplanes. They said, you should be an aerospace engineer. I said, okay. And I signed up and I applied to that school and I went to school for aerospace engineering and I hated it. I hated it. I hated it because, I was always good at math and science. So that part of it I enjoyed. And it's funny that so much of my career has focused on engineering. I've had a lot of engineering clients and I'm so into green tech and the engineering side of it, but I didn't want to be an engineer. I wanted to be around that world, but I still wanted to be an artist. And my problem was I didn't know that there were any career paths for artists. I didn't know. Nobody told me. And here I was my senior year of college as a engineering major and I failed a core class. First semester, senior year, I failed stress 1. And the first time I ever failed a class in my life. And so that meant in semester 2, I could not take stress 2 to graduate. I had to take stress 1 and pass it before I could take stress 2. Stress 1 would not be given again until the first semester of the following year. So this means now I am in college for another year, at least just for this one class. And I was like, this is terrible. My dad suggested that I go talk to my guidance counselor at my high school. I was like, what? I'm not doing that. I'm not a little kid. He said, go there and talk to them and see what else you could be doing. So I went there and this was the first time in my life that anyone ever said to me, as an artist, you could be a graphic designer. I was like, what is that? I'd never heard of this before. I was 21 years old, had never heard of graphic design in my life. The very next day, I went to Long Island University and they just happened to be having an open house that day. I mean, it worked out tremendously awesome. I don't know how I timed this, but I went there and I told them my story that I wanted and I gave them my transcripts and they signed me up and I started there a week later as like a sophomore. Again, I had a lot to take, but instead of one more year of school, I needed 2 more years of school. So I was like, well, I'd rather go 2 more years of school and come out as an artist than stand 1 more year. The point of all of this story is that there are children out there who would love to work in green tech that do not know it exists. Right. If anyone would just tell them you could be this when you grow up, their eyes would light up, their mind would expand with the possibilities, but they will never do it simply because nobody ever showed it to them. So
Mm.
that's kind of, it's not my sales point because I don't know that anybody wants to buy the program for that reason, but it's my driving why. I know that there's a
Yeah.
kid out there who's going to make the next amazing electric vehicle, whatever, because they figured out they could be that because of Planet Bonehead. And that is my reason for getting up in the morning and doing this is to help that young me learn about graphic design 10 years earlier so that I could have gone down that path earlier. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah. I mean, do you find a lot of kids that you are steering towards green tech and that I mean, it's
I'll be honest with you.
fascinating.
This isn't the kind of thing where I go into classrooms.
I know. I'm like,
I,
okay.
I want to help those kids. I want to do it from over here. I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to do it over there. Also, I want to do it at scale. So I'm not trying to go from classroom to classroom, school to school.
Yeah.
This is like
But
this is a national program that I want to take global. So I can't do that classroom to classroom. So I don't hear a lot about the individual kids. I hear from my distributors who hear from teachers, and sometimes I hear directly from teachers. But
yeah.
I can tell you in the early days, we did bring it into classrooms, and that was when we knew we had something. I
Yeah.
say we because I had partners back then. I don't anymore. Now it's just me. But we brought it into classrooms and they loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely just loved it. They soaked it up. They wanted the knowledge, but they loved the characters and the presentation was right. The stuff was right. It was just, it was gold.
Yeah.
And I just need to give it to more of them,
Well, I love the why. I mean, I love that story and it speaks to, your young self and it just really, yeah, I think really understanding what that why is and it being so personal is so powerful. And I love that and how that can be this ripple effect in terms of what you are growing with climate change. So how does climate change help foster a sense of global citizenship? So you were talking about just creating this global organization, but global citizen among the students that are going through this program.
Global citizenship, that's a good term. I think that sometimes it's very easy to get wrapped up in the struggles and situations of your own life that we forget that we're all interconnected one way or another. We feel isolated. We feel alone. And very often, especially if it comes to climate change and stuff, we feel incapable and powerless. It doesn't really seem to make much sense whether I recycle or not. Nobody can come to me and say, well, you didn't recycle that tissue box, so the world's going to end next week. That's just not a thing. And also, hey, you did recycle that tissue box, so you saved everybody. That's also not a thing. It's almost inconsequential what I do, just statistically speaking. But when everybody thinks that way, it adds up. So that's one way, is that I'm trying to just say, hey, your part might be small, but your entire class's part is larger than that. And your entire school's part is larger than that. And your entire town's part is larger than that. And your entire state's part is, you know what I mean? And they can see that scale up, and they can see how it's important that if everybody decided not to participate in that, then it wouldn't build up. So the kids get that, I think. But more than that, I think that there's this desire to be, I'm looking for a word, worthy or important, where not just that what my actions count in recycling efforts, but that my existence counts, that my being here alive on this planet has meaning. And when something can help you be tied to everything else, you begin to realize that your individual existence does have meaning. It's very easy to go the other way, to say, like, look at the earth. It's just this tiny speck of dust in the vastness of the cosmos. And you on this planet are this tiny little insignificant thing so it's easy to feel insignificant, but it works the other way too, where if you weren't here, how would that ripple out to the people directly in your lives? And how would that ripple out to the people in their lives? And what could you be doing with your life that would affect other people? Anyone can hear me say, I want to do this, because I want to help kids know that they can do this when they grow up. And everybody's like, that's amazing. And I know that intellectually, but I have to wake up every day and remind myself of that because it's very easy for me to wake up and say, who are you? Who the heck are you? Who are you really? You know what I mean? We all do it. Yeah. And it's easier to think of it for yourself applying in the reverse. And for any, like most people listening to this would think like, no, you got to do this. That's amazing. But I can't do that, you know, and I fall victim to it too. So part of this is helping children not fall victim to that.
Yeah. And I think that's why our paths have crossed, because I believe the exact same thing. And if you just plug in outdoor classrooms or nature-based education and growing food in backyards and in schools, and if we all did that and it's all connected and we all are all connected, then wow, you know, we rise together as opposed to just one of us. So
exactly.
I really feel that we have common threads that we share.
Yes,
and
I do as well.
In that mindset, it's incredible. And so I want to thank you for sharing your program and Planet Bonehead. Is there anything else that you would like that we might have missed that you'd like to share with our community?
No, I think we covered all the bases of everything. Yeah. You know, the program is available for teachers, so they're welcome to see it. The PBH Live, depending on when this is airing, is either just started or is about to start. So I would welcome any teacher to join me weekdays. They're probably going to be around 3:30 Eastern time. I'm just thinking that's what's going to work for me, but the times might change. I don't know. I would just say check out the program and see if it's right for your classroom. That's all.
Perfect. And I will have all your links and all your information in the show notes. And again, where can folks find you?
The best place is at planetbonehead.com. You can connect with the program there. If you want to connect with me personally, the best place is on my LinkedIn. So I think you have that as well. So I'm happy to connect with anybody that wants to connect, and you message me and talk to me there. That's the best way to message me is on LinkedIn. Emails get lost in spam. I never answer my phone if I don't know who you are. So don't call me. I don't want to talk on the phone.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I am absolutely thrilled that our paths have crossed, and we'll continue to cross and really take this topic of climate change into the classrooms and into children's worlds and whatnot. So thank you again for all the content and work that you are putting out into the world.
Wow. You're so welcome. And thank you. I appreciate this opportunity and being here today. This was a lot of fun.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for today's episode. Before we sign off, we have an exciting opportunity for educators looking to bring learning to life outdoors. Consider enhancing your teaching journey with the Outdoor-Classrooms Teacher Certification Program. This program empowers educators to transform any outdoor space into a dynamic learning environment. By joining, you'll gain skills to inspire students and foster a deeper connection with the natural world. Interested in making a difference with outdoor learning? Visit www.outdoor-classrooms.com to learn more about enrolling in the certification program. Don't miss the chance to expand your teaching toolkit and inspire the next generation with the joy of outdoor education. Thank you for listening, and remember to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring content. Until next time, keep inspiring young minds.